Hey guys, so I'm here today to film a video about influencers and the pandemic. I wanted to film this back when Kim Kardashian posted her stupid fucking Instagram post or Twitter thread or whatever it was about that trip her and her family went on. And then I didn't, and then just things that have happened since then have just made me want to post about it again, so I'm kind of just going to post about it all together and talk about the fact that influencers seem to think that they deserve some sort of normalcy that the rest of us don't, and I'm here to tell you that they fucking don't, and we're going to talk about it. So before I get into this video, subscribe to my channel. I upload every Tuesday and Thursday. I will have a bonus video up this week, and yeah, let's get into it. So like I said, Kim Kardashian took like her close family and friends, which I believe it looked like 40 plus people, to a resort somewhere. She said they had quarantined before, but it was a surprise vacation and that they had all been tested, so it's okay. I'm gonna talk about testing later on in this video, but what I want to talk about is that she basically was like, you know, it felt good to feel some sort of normalcy again. And why do you get to feel normalcy and the rest of us don't? Because you're rich? Because let's be real, most of us have been quarantining since March. I live in Canada, Ontario, so we had kind of relaxed our restrictions in the end of the summer, but we're kind of back. We've backpedaled now because cases have gone up as the colder months came in, which we kind of expected, and they reopened schools. But we had been in pretty lax, we had like relaxed some of our restrictions back in the, I guess, end of the summer. But like still, I had only seen my best friend, my mom, and my cousin. That's it. Like my husband and I only went out to get essentials. I mean, I also might have gone to Winners to get some Halloween decorations. But like I went into a store, I got what I needed, I got out. Like there was no like going out for fun. There was no seeing family members. You know, we were allowed to have like a 10-person bubble, and so my bubble was like my best friend and my mom, the end. But like we didn't have Thanksgiving here in Canada was in October, and that's when cases started to rise again, so we didn't have Thanksgiving. My mom cooked a turkey. I went and we did like a social distance pickup. We picked up our portion of Thanksgiving dinner, came home, my husband and I ate it here. We dropped off a portion to my grandmother, social distanced. Like we have all been doing our part. And it's so ridiculous for influencers and celebrities. I kind of think that while the Kardashians have surpassed into celebritydom, I do think they're definitely more influencers, because like you don't see Reese Witherspoon hawking fit tea on her Instagram. Like she's a real celebrity. These people are definitely more influencers or social media celebrities or some shit like that. But the point is they think that they deserve normalcy, which is so ridiculous, because like there are people who have to go to work in America because they can't afford to eat if they don't. Like so many people have lost their jobs in the States. I don't even want to get into the unemployment system and the fact that there's no relief for people there. Like at least I'm lucky. My husband lost his job. Well, he was temporarily laid off back in March because his company's basically closed right now because he delivers coffee to offices, and like obviously there's no offices open right now. So he's been off since March, and luckily in Canada we have a thing called CERB, which is basically was put in place for people who were laid off, who didn't qualify for EI. It kind of all merged together because my husband would have qualified for EI, but like regardless. So he's been on that, but people are going to work and risking their lives every day because they're essential workers who we refuse to pay a livable minimum wage to, or they're frontline workers and they don't have a choice, or they are trying to put food on their fucking table. And then you have the Kardashians, who are, quite frankly, my issue I think is that I'm sick of these fucking rich people acting like quarantine is hard for them. Like the rest of us are watching people die and trying not to get an illness or spread it to our family members. We don't have the best medical care available at our fingertips if something were to happen, and we're struggling to pay our bills and keep our jobs. Whereas the Kardashians have a quadrillion dollars to do whatever the fuck they want with. They're not struggling to do anything, but they feel like they need some sort of normalcy. And it's their privilege. And the issue is, like, even Kim's post, she was like, I understand that I'm so privileged to be able to do this. And I think that these people think that if they acknowledge their privilege, it just means that I can't be mad at it. And like, no, I hate you because you're privileged. And acknowledging your privilege and then still letting that privilege guide your life is not the same thing. Like if I was just like, yeah, I'm privileged because I'm white, and then I just kept on living my life and did nothing about it, that doesn't make it okay. And it's the same thing for the Kardashians, who are privileged because they're rich. Like, you are privileged to have the best medical care, to get testing whenever you want, to have food delivered to you and not have to worry about paying your bills. You're still making millions of dollars in this pandemic because you make money off of your social posts, off of all the brands you have. Your companies have not shut down. All of that to say, you don't deserve normalcy. Like, that's just it. You don't have nothing. If the rest of the world doesn't get to have normalcy, you don't either. And you people who are out there thinking you deserve normalcy are the reason the rest of us can't have normalcy right now, because you're pushing the pandemic too far. Because while you think that getting tested and being safe means that you're totally fine, it doesn't. I watched fucking Kendall Jenner blow out candles at her birthday party. A man was holding the cake and she blew out the candles, and the man did this. Because he was like, hi, pandemic times and you're blowing out fucking candles? Seriously, putting my life at risk so you can have a birthday party? Like, you'll have a birthday party next year, but hundreds of thousands of Americans won't. Millions of people in this world won't, and you're the reason for that because you keep doing stupid ass shit. Like, you guys have the easiest quarantine ever. You're living in a fucking mansion. You could do whatever the fuck you want. And the rest, some people are living in like tiny little condos, not leaving their house, not seeing their family members. Whereas you guys are clearly all seeing each other all the time and it's whatever. And you're acting like your life is hard. And I'm here to tell you it's not. And the thing that kind of sparked me to talk about this more recently was YouTuber Chris Klemmons. I honestly love Chris Klemmons. I watch all of his videos like as soon as they're posted. I think he's hysterical and so funny and I love him. But he posted a video, and he's been very open about, you know, being pro-mask and hating people for not thinking the pandemic was real. And I really appreciated that, but he posted a video, 2 videos in the last couple weeks that I thought were super tone deaf. And I just kind of wanted to talk about it in regards to this because I think it leads to a bigger point of how these celebrities and influencers are leaning on testing way too hard. So basically, if you missed it, he posted a video called I Tested Positive for Coronavirus. And in the video, he said he was getting a test because he was going to do a YouTube collab and he wanted to get tested first to be safe. And so he went to do a rapid test, tested positive. He got a second rapid test, tested positive. And then we had to watch this man sob in his Tesla and cry out, "This isn't fair, this isn't fair." Keep in mind, he had no symptoms. He was basically asymptomatic. And he wasn't sad because he thought, oh fuck, I have coronavirus and I'm gonna die. He wasn't sad because he was putting his roommates that he lives with like 3 other people at risk. He wasn't sad for any reason you should be sad. He was sad because it wasn't fair, because he took this seriously and now he got it. And now he couldn't do his YouTube collab in the middle of a pandemic. And it was strong. I actually watched Tiffany Ferg's video the other day and it was a strong contrast to his, because at the end of the video she says, hey guys, I just wanted to let you guys know I'm sick. I actually tested positive for coronavirus. I've been super safe. I'm not really sure how it happened, but it doesn't really matter how it happened. It's just kind of, you know, she said like, this is just proof that it can happen to anybody. And it was just such a stark contrast between her just like, you know, saying like, I'm sick, I haven't had a lot of symptoms, but I just wanted to let you guys know. Whereas Chris Klemmons, who has no symptoms, is sobbing in his Tesla about how he has coronavirus and it's not fair, he can't do his fucking YouTube collab. So let's talk about all of these fucking YouTubers who are doing collabs in a pandemic. People aren't seeing their loved ones and their family members because they're trying to listen to what the government is saying about limiting your exposure to other people, and YouTubers are doing collabs. I'm looking at you, James Charles, I'm looking at you, Brad Mondo, I'm looking at you, Charlie D'Amelio, I'm looking at all these fucking TikTokers, and you know what? I have to throw Cody Ko in there too because I love Cody Ko and I've been enjoying his Sweet Tooth series, but it's the same thing. Like, do you need, like, it makes, his Sweet Tooth series was supposed to be him going out to small businesses in California and like showcasing their desserts so that he could help the small businesses. And I liked that. And then like in his second or third episode, he had a comedian on with him, and now it became like 2 comedians going to help a small business. And it's like, okay, well, you're helping a small business. You could do that alone with just the girlfriend you live with and not bring another person on it and do a collab during a fucking pandemic. I gotta keep the same energy for all my faves. And it just feels like, why are you doing collabs in a pandemic? Like, you know, people are crying about how they are pro-masks, they're talking about social distancing, they're getting tested, and then they're also doing collabs. Like, no, you don't get to have it both ways. You don't get to follow most of the rules and then bend the ones that don't make you happy. That's not how it works. And let's talk about testing for a second. So a lot of these people are like the Kardashians said, oh, we all got tested before, and Kris Klemmons was like, I'm getting a test so that I can go do a collab so I can be safe. And like, here's the thing, testing is not completely accurate. And let me explain why, because I know that sounds like I don't believe in science, and I do. So if I kind of missed over it, Kris Klemmons actually did a follow-up video where, because he got 2 rapid tests, he went and did like the long form test where they like touch your brain, and had to wait like 2 days for his results for that. And so the results came in and he was negative. So he got 2 false positives from the rapid test, and rapid tests are known for false positives and false negatives. It happens. Basically, he went to get the test so that he could do a collab, and the Kardashians are doing tests so that they can go on trips. And in his video, he said, you know, this just kind of shows the importance of testing and wearing a mask and staying safe. And I'm like, how does this show the importance of testing? All this showed me was that testing leads to false positives and false negatives. And you guys are using testing as this excuse to circumvent the rules because you got a test. But the thing is, tests don't work. If I got a test today, I could show up as negative because maybe I got exposed yesterday and the virus hasn't fully infected me yet, so I would show up as negative. Like, the virus has to be in you for a couple days for it to show up on a test. So let's say I was exposed yesterday. I got a test today. It came up as negative. So I went out and I saw my whole ass family, my grandmother, everybody, because I tested negative. I'm totally fine. I don't have coronavirus. And then everyone gets sick. Everyone has coronavirus. Grandma dies. Because that negative test just wasn't negative yet. It could have been a false negative. It could have just been that I wasn't fully infected yet, but I still passed the virus on to those people. And 5 days from now, I feel deathly sick. Everyone's sick, and then it's holy shit, I gave the world coronavirus. Because this is the thing. People compare it to the flu, which is so stupid, because while it has the same mortality rate in a percentage place, it is more contagious, which means more people get it, which means more people die from it as a whole. So yes, the percentage is the same of death, but the contagion rate is so much higher. Watch the movie Contagion, that everyone fucking gets it. It's so easy to get. And testing is not the answer. The answer isn't testing. The answer is following the health guidelines by like the World Health Organization. And I would say governments, but in America, some governments shouldn't be listened to. Looking at you, Republicans. You need to wear a mask and social distance and not see anybody outside of your house, especially in America where the pandemic is all over the fucking place. I mean, it is no better in Canada right now. We are skyrocketing our cases. But that's why I haven't seen anyone and don't plan on it. And it just feels like people are using testing as an excuse. And I think it's more so that, to me, my friend and I were talking about this because we were talking about the Kris Klemmons video, because she was like, wow, he's usually so woke. I'm actually really disappointed. This is so tone deaf. And in the video, he actually says, I hope this doesn't come across as tone deaf. And it does. And to me, it just feels like people think that because they're not anti-maskers, that they get a little extra wiggle room and that their fans will forgive them for doing stupid shit. Because I believe in masks, I believe in science, it's okay that I collab with other people as long as I take a test and am safe, but you don't get, again, to circumvent the rules, again, for a fucking YouTube collab. Like, let's be real. No, I bet you everyone's numbers are up from in the pandemic because guess what? No one's doing anything but watching YouTube because we're all at fucking home. So everyone's, like, Kris Klemmons did not take a fucking hit to his bank account during the pandemic. If anything, it probably went up. He's making just as much, if not more money than he was before, which is probably hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, let's be real. And he feels the need to do a YouTube collab in the middle of a pandemic? Like, for what reason? It's not like you're struggling. It's not like you need it. You want to do a YouTube collab? Do it with Andrew Lau. You fucking live with him. Like, I just don't understand why these YouTubers and influencers think that it's okay for them to circumvent the rules just because they're not anti-maskers. I'm also looking at you, Dr. Mike. If you missed it, Dr. Mike, who is a famous doctor on YouTube, has been posting videos about how important COVID is, how we need to, you know, follow the restrictions and like pro-science, pro-mask, etc., which is what you would expect from a doctor. And then pictures leaked of him a week ago on a trip in Miami with like 15 girls. No one's wearing masks. Everyone's around each other, touching each other, just like you would expect from a party any other time. And he's not wearing a mask and whatever. And people were like, what the fuck? And he posted an apology video yesterday, not on his main channel, which has millions of views. He posted on his secondary channel, which has 50,000 subscribers, as opposed to his main channel, which I believe has 6 million subscribers. And he apologized and basically was just like, oh, I made a mistake. And it's like, no. You don't get to call it a mistake when you purposely ignore the rules that you have been preaching to the world. That's called hypocrisy. You made a choice. You made a calculated choice because you thought that no one would find out. And because you wanted to live your life, because you expect the rest of the world, again, you think that you're better than everyone else because you're not an anti-masker, so you expect to get special treatment and to do whatever the fuck you want and go have a party and like, it's not that big of a deal. Because you're a doctor, so like maybe if you get sick, you have access to better medical treatment than the rest of the people in America because you're rich. And he said in his video, you know, I'm so sorry, I made a mistake, blah, blah, blah. And then he was also like, you know, I feel bad because people now, anti-maskers are using it as proof that science isn't real and that even me, who's been preaching for masks, doesn't actually believe in science. And he's like, that kills me. And it's like, okay, but you have no one to blame but yourself for that. Like, there is no apology big enough or sincere enough for me to fucking care at this point. You lost all credibility to me. And again, I just feel like you think that because you're rich or because you're, you know, trying to be woke or because you believe in health and safety regulations that somehow you deserve some sort of normalcy that the rest of us don't have the luxury of having. And I don't think it's fair. And I think it's just another case of influencers being fucking entitled. They're entitled to normalcy and they don't deserve it. They don't deserve to have normalcy until the rest of the world has normalcy, until this pandemic is under wraps. I can't wait until the fucking vaccines come out and they're the first ones in line to get it ahead of fucking people who are immunocompromised and elderly. Like, I'm just so sick of influencers. Like, I understand wanting to have normalcy. We all do. It's kind of like when people were saying like, oh, we're gonna have to go back to lockdown. And then those of us that hadn't really never left lockdown were like, what's back to lockdown? Like, I don't leave my house unless it's to go pick up something from the store and then I come back. I don't see my family, my friends. I've probably seen my mom like 4 times in the pandemic and I haven't seen her since the restrictions have gone back up. Like, and she is a frontline worker. So I'm not even the one who's gonna put her in danger, other people are. And it's just like, I don't know. I'm such a logical person that like, I can't wrap my head around what the fuck these influencers think. The only thing I can think of is that it's entitlement, that they think that somehow they deserve this. Like, I deserve to do a collab. I deserve to go party with my friends. I deserve to have a trip. And it's like, how can you think that you deserve that? Well, there are people here in the world that are losing their lives, losing their loved ones, losing their homes. And you think you deserve a collab, a party? And don't even get me started on fucking Jake Paul, who thinks COVID is a hoax. I hope that man... Never mind, I won't say that. I won't say what I'm thinking, but you know what I'm thinking. Like, I just... You know, for Jake Paul, I expect idiocy because that's kind of his brand. But the influencers that are mostly upsetting me are people like Chris Klemmons and Cody Ko and Dr. Mike, people who are, you know, saying wear masks, be responsible, we need to take this pandemic seriously, and then they turn around and when that doesn't accommodate them or doesn't allow them to do the things they want to do, suddenly they're above the rules and they deserve something that the rest of us don't have. And I'm over it. And like, again, to say, I love Chris Klemmons, I love Cody Ko. I actually used to always watch Dr. Mike's videos. But it's like, I expect more from you. Like, I think it feels like they think because they're doing the bare minimum, which is supporting science, that they deserve something, but you don't. Because you support science, I expect more from you. Because you're telling your followers to do, follow health regulations, I expect more from you. I expect you to stay home in your fucking mansion and be happy about it and not cry in your Tesla because you are asymptomatic. Like, when it comes down to it, these people don't need to leave their houses. They don't have jobs on the front line that they have to go to. They don't have a career that they have to go to. I mean, I guess Dr. Mike probably has to go to his job to pay his bills. But even that, he could probably live off YouTube if we're being honest. He has millions of subscribers. These people don't need to leave their houses to do any of these things to survive. It's a luxury. It's a privilege. It's not a necessity, but they're doing it anyways because they think that they are above the rest of us. They think that they deserve things that the rest of us don't have, and I'm over it. So yeah, that's all I have to say today. I'm just frustrated. I'm annoyed. I expect it from the Kardashians, but I had to touch on it because I just wanted to punch them. It's just so white privilege. I know the Kardashians aren't white, but they're very white passing. And do I call it rich privilege? Is rich privilege a thing? Affluent privilege? I don't know. But it just feels very I'm rich so I can do whatever the fuck I want. It's very America, that there is two Americas. There is what the rich white people get to do and what everybody else gets to do. And everybody else is getting fucked while rich white people do whatever the fuck they want. The major issue with this isn't so much that they're endangering themselves and the people they're collabing with, or themselves and their friends. The issue is that they're not the only ones they're endangering. When you're doing big film shoots, you have employees that are going to be there that you are endangering. When you're relying on these tests that are not 100% accurate, you're endangering every single person that's around you. The Kardashians were oh, we got tested, we went to this resort and it was super great. And they were really grateful because we were, the only people that went there this year. And it's okay, that's great, until one of you who tested negative, who actually has coronavirus, gives it to all of these people and one of them dies because of it. And they don't have the same health insurance you do. They don't have the same access to healthcare that you do. So now you're putting people's lives at risk. It's not, let me just be clear, nobody cares about you. We're not concerned about whether or not you give each other COVID if that's your fucking prerogative. I truly don't care if that's what you want to do. But the issue is that you're not the only people who are in danger. It's all of your employees. I'm sure the Kardashians' house doesn't keep its fucking self. I'm sure Kim's not tidying up her own home or cooking her own meals. She has employees. And every time she does something fucking reckless and stupid, she puts them at risk. The same thing for all of these other influencers, and especially Dr. Mike, who's fucking out here partying and then going to work in a fucking hospital after. I mean, I don't know if he works in a hospital, but still, it's just you're putting so many people at risk other than yourself. It's not about you, it's about everybody else and you putting them at risk because you feel entitled to some sort of normalcy. So that's all I have to say. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think you get the same vibe that these influencers are really kind of, it's different. I think it's different from the ones who are just ignoring restrictions and having parties like Tana and James Charles and all these TikTokers, because they're just selfish idiots who think that nothing matters but themselves. And I kind of expect that from them. But the issue is these ones who act woke, it's kind of I kind of get more disappointed by the ones who act woke and then do something so totally not woke that you're are you woke or what? At least I expect it from Tana. But I don't expect it from these other influencers who actually pretend they care about the pandemic and it's real. And then they go ahead and do some shit like this. So that's all I have to say today. Let me know down below what you guys think. Am I overreacting? Am I crazy? Maybe. So wear your masks, social distance, stay home so that we can all survive and take this fucking pandemic seriously, for real. Thank you guys for watching and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.